So if you were 8 years old when Two Live Crew or NWA came out, what was your first concert?
So my dad took me to Monsters of Rock '88 because Van Halen was headlining.
Yeah.
And I saw Scorpions and Metallica and Dokken, and I was like, I'm sold.
Yep.
You know,
I saw that in Texas.
Specifically Metallica.
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, like this, I know exactly what I want to do with my life. And then a few years later, wow, I guess maybe 5 years later, because, well, like kids were coming to school when the Black Album came out, and they would just be like, there's this tape and it's just black and it's called Metallica and it's incredible. And I was like, there's this other one called And Justice for All, and you need to hear this, you know, and people are like, what the hell, you know? But another thing happened when so I'd gone to a Christian school. My parents weren't religious, but I was getting into a lot of fights at public school when I was pretty young, like actually around that age, probably glorifying the gangster rap thing, right? Like, here I'm some white kid and I'm going to fucking, you know, right? I'm in a gang, right? Yeah, whatever. So they put me in private school. The best thing that ever happened to me, man, because I grew up for 7 years with the same 20, 30 kids, and I still have these friendships till today. Like being in a smaller environment like that really kind of helped me, you know, generate great relationships with people, right?
You found your gang.
I did. And we had something to rebel against because we were constantly, you know, I was failing religion class because they would like make us copy the Bible word for word, like in, you know, and so it became a thing that wasn't a choice anymore. But they showed us this video. It's a 3-hour documentary. It's actually on YouTube. You can find it. It's called Hell's Bells. Okay. And it's about the dangers of rock and roll. So this is like 89, I want to say. This is pretty like the height of the satanic panic, you know. And I mean, where you had a bunch of crazy shit going on. I know more about it now. I didn't know at the time, but I mean, it was a total witch hunt on like, I mean, you had school librarians go into jail for talking about nature, you know, I mean, like, so, or spiritualism, you know.
Yeah.
So basically, this movie it opened my eyes to so many things that I never knew about. They were like backmasking Stairway on vinyl. They were like, here's a song called Fade to Black that's about suicide. Stay away from these guys. They're playing AC/DC, Hell's Bells. So many things. Cyndi Lauper, She Bop. This is about masturbation, you know? And I'm just like, so I'm in class for 3 hours just making a list of things I need to buy, you know?
Yeah.
And the rest of the class.
That's like a Dear Santa.
Yeah, exactly. The rest
the forbidden fruit.
They were so affected by this and bought into it. And so the day after we watched this movie, the teachers had organized like a CD and tape smashing party, right? So it's almost like an old book burning, right? So me and two other guys, Mike Mall and Doug Clark, we went the other way and we made a bong that day. We didn't know how or what to do with it. We had no weed, but we started a band. And we're like, this is what we need to do. Like, this is it. This is our answer. This is our way out of here, you know? And so it was just me and two other people out of 30. And we found our tribe at that point, you know? So,
do you feel like some of your lyrics pretty much had to be of a rebellious stench that may or may not have been about the oppressors, the people organizing the tape smashing party?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was so young that I didn't know how to really write a song. So like we played at our school had a talent show and we went and played one song. We were formed a band, called it Black Opal, which we named it after my dad and Michael Anthony's band that they had. And we covered Anarchy in the UK, but the school was called St. John's. So at the end, instead of saying, again, I'm pissed, destroy, I said, St. John's will be destroyed. And like, people were like, you know, but other kids in the class that didn't have enough balls to kind of be individuals, or they were too afraid to at that point. And I understand. They loved it. They loved it. And like, this was a time where, there's kids. There was like 3 guys in the class that we grew up with that we knew. I mean, we knew they were gay. We knew they were gay, but we were in a system where we were constantly being taught how wrong that was. And we had teachers that would make fun of it. They would say like jokes that they thought were funny, like it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and like things like this. And it never dawned on me then, but these kids were having to like kind of laugh at this. And now that, I don't know what that did to them.
That's painful. That's painful.
I still know a couple of them, and I've never talked about it with them, but it's nice to see that the society has progressed enough so that, they can be kind of who they are now. But I'm just grateful that I got out of that unscathed, because we were all being targeted in some way. That's about right. Whatever we were into, and I remember the teachers that were saying this, one guy specifically, like everybody fucking loved him. And he was like, really like the cool guy and in touch with the youth. And, come to find out, a lot of the girls that I'm still friends with, they tell me now about all the times he would, touch their ass and shit like that. It's like, it's such a, I mean, there's a whole nother topic, but right. What I'm saying, there was, in times of unblind oppression, there's always some good nuggets there, man. If you dig deep enough, you'll find that if you're willing to go against the status quo and you just search into the unknown, into the other side of things, it's not as dark as people tell you it is. There's a lot of brightness in there, and you will find your people, so it's all a blessing,
Yeah,
Well,
it's the old fear of the unknown cliche that people say you're afraid of what you don't understand.
Absolutely.
Then you get a little bit educated, like you're saying, and it's like, oh, okay, it's not so bad, or I can deal with this, or whatever.
Well, yeah. the shit that's happening in front of your eyes that you may or may not be able to put together in your young mind, when you realize that shit later on, and you feel for those. And I'm sure they felt for you being made fun of for your long hair, if you had long hair, or if you shaved your head, or if you wore a Dirty Kiss t-shirt to school every day, or, just that's a whole, I mean, that's what I write songs about. That's why I threw that out immediate, because I feel like, that's what the first few Metallica records, the lyrics are all about, just coping mechanisms and fighting back and realizations of like, why are you trying to teach me this when I know that it's fucked up? So I think music is a great way of expression, and I'm not telling anybody in this room right now that. And I feel like you have all of this as gasoline in your giant truck that you are driving across the universe. And I just want to, if I forget anything, tell me, because I know I'm going to. You're now managing bands. You write songs. You probably produce records. You have a record label. You have a podcast. You book tours for people. You have guested countless. You're in one of your favorite bands now. You're in fucking Cirith Ungol, who's from your home. Are you from Ventura?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
And they're from Ventura. I want to touch on that in a second. The fact that all of these things you are actively doing makes me need a fucking nap. And it's so impressive, and it obviously means that